The big week is finally here. Crypto forever will be changed after Wednesday as two worlds directly collide for the very first time. The old world versus the new world. Crypto versus legacy finance. Crypto versus crypto. You guys know whose side I'm on, and I can only guess whose side you're on if you're watching this channel. So can I get a hoorah?
Hoorah!
That's what I like to hear, because it's time for Chico Crypto. I'm sure there are a few newbies watching, so if you don't know what's happening, Wednesday, April 14th, it's the day of the direct listing of Coinbase, their IPO. So the questions I'm going to try and answer today are: what is going to happen to the crypto markets pre and post Coinbase IPO? Is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? Or is it a good and bad thing? So to begin, let's just look at the crypto markets pre-IPO. Pulling out the Bitcoin price chart since last Wednesday's low, it has been pushing up in anticipation, cracking 60K for the very first time last Friday and dancing around that level since, cracking it 4 more times as of yesterday, and as of that day, we fell just below. At its peak level though, about 61,000, the increase from the low of 56K is about 8.75%. Ethereum a tad bit more bullish from that Wednesday low to its peak, an increase of about 11.1%. I wonder if out of the top 3 cryptos there is one that was increasing suspiciously fast, out of the ordinary. Well, we looked at the top 2, let's look at number 3, BNB. Their coin went from a low of about 368 bucks to pushing to 600, just an increase of 63%. Binance is obviously trying to steal the show, all eyes on them. Which is so obvious from the leader of the NAND, CZ. Another tuber posted this yesterday. The Coinbase IPO is this week, and I'm expecting a Bitcoin pump. CZ retweeted and replied to this with, "I thought the same. Look at what's happening to #B. Not financial advice." He meant his own coin, BNB. But the absolutely nuts thing they did was this. CZ tweeted also yesterday, "Trade stock tokens like Tesla on Binance with 0 commission." Whoa, they are dipping into the world of US stock trading with US based stocks too. But there's more to this than meets the eye, and CZ gave it away yesterday with eyes of his own. Eric Voorhees tweeted this because of the Binance stock news. How long until Coinbase coin stock is trading on Binance? Of which CZ replied to it with big eyes. Yeah, he has their stock targeted and ready to jump on it ASAP. I wonder why. Well, you have to know Coinbase called out Binance specifically in their S1 filed with the SEC for their IPO. Diving into the actual filing, we can see Coinbase specifically called out Binance's May 2019 hack. Then in the competition section, they said this: "We also compete with a number of companies that solely focus on the crypto market and have varying degrees of regulatory adherence, such as Binance." Which they expand on in the document and say, "Our primary source of competition to date has been from companies, in particular those located outside the United States, who are subject to significantly less stringent regulatory and compliance requirements in their local jurisdictions. Their business models rely on being unregulated or only regulated in a small number of lower compliance jurisdictions, whilst also offering their products in highly regulated jurisdictions, including the United States, without necessarily complying with the relevant regulatory requirements in such jurisdictions. To date, due to limited enforcement by the US and foreign regulators, many of these competitors have been able to operate from offshore while offering large numbers of products and services to consumers, including in the United States, Europe, and other highly regulated jurisdictions, without complying with their relevant licensing and other requirements in these jurisdictions, and seemingly without penalty." So I hope you guys realize that this was filed by Coinbase February 25th. What happened 2 weeks later on March 12th? It was announced Binance was facing a probe from the CFTC over their futures trading and US customers. Now, before all the craziness in crypto that has happened in 2021 so far, CZ spoke with Bloomberg about US regulation and their exchange. Here's what he said about not operating in the US. We have always blocked US access, but users do find intelligent ways to get around our blocks sometimes, and we just have to be smarter about the way we block. Basically, we do continually try to improve our blocking. There are sometimes a few guys who want to circumvent our blocking and still use the platform, and we have to come up with a smarter way to protect, and when we do, we block them. Well, those smart guys are proving to be really freaking smart. If you go to the Alexa website ranking for Binance.com, the main exchange, you can see that the US is still a hot spot, ranked as the number 3 country using it to this day. In my opinion, it's extremely obvious US traders are finding a way to still use the exchange, or this percentage wouldn't be that high. So what does this all mean, Chico? Can you try and clear it up? Well, I will say this. It's not the best possible idea for Binance to list tokenized US stocks while under investigation by US authorities, and there are still US traders on their exchange. But the Nance has a problem with control. They control the crypto markets as we speak. They control both derivative and spot trading by large margins, aka they have a large influence over the markets, including Bitcoin. So now that their competitor, who ratted on them to US authorities, is getting the listing of a lifetime, they want some level of control over them too. We get your big eyes at Eric Voorhees' tweet now. Binance is looking to take its share of CB stonk trading and possibly right out the gate. That's regarding Coinbase stonk. The big question is what is going to happen to BTC this week? Just like the others, I expected Bitcoin to be extremely bullish. 60K would be cracked this week and left behind. But now I see it, and just like the children in the middle of a parental fight, Bitcoin is caught smack dab in the center of this fight between Coinbase and Binance. Let's just show that tweet from CZ one more time. CZ thought BT was gonna pump too, but look at his coin, it is pumping. And then we have to show this one. In a reply to a user tweeting that BNB volume had surpassed Bitcoin volume, CZ replied, exchanges who didn't list BNB missed out on this volume. BNB is doing fine without them. That was a direct shot at Coinbase, and he is flexing his volume muscles, showing it can even outdo BTC if they want. People need to realize this. With the Coinbase IPO coming, CoinStock and Bitcoin are going to be closely tied to each other. I've been wondering since the announcement of the stonk, who is going to follow who? Would Bitcoin drive the CoinStock, or would the CoinStock drive the Bitcoin price? In my opinion, out the gate, it will be Bitcoin who drives confidence in the CoinStock. So what is going to happen this week? Well, Bitcoin might crack 60K pre-Coinbase IPO, as that is what the markets expect. But the day of the IPO, there may be some surprises, some unexpected price movements, and I'm thinking a possible unexpected dip. If Bitcoin isn't performing well the week of the Coinbase IPO, that might not be good for the Coinbase stonk, wouldn't you think? Lackluster performance from BTC equals lackluster Coinbase stonk performance. But hey, BNB this week, it shined like a star. It's unfortunate to see, but Bitcoin, it will make it through. And like I said in the beginning, crypto versus crypto. They know the future of finance is a very valuable thing. Binance versus Coinbase, and the war begins. Can I get a hoorah? Cheers. I'll see you next time.